warehouse is silent, but there's dim illumination filtering through the grime-coated front windows. From my spot behind the minivan, I study the structure, watching for movement. The ticking of the cooling engine tells me that this is his van. It's his warehouse, which means she's in there. She's chained up and scared. And it's all because of me. Maybe he has already started in on her. Maybe he's playing sick games with her right now as I crouch here in the dark. Channeling the heroes from my favorite films, I gather the courage to do what needs to be done. If I do nothing but save her life for as long as I live, it will have been enough. Setting the toolkit down on the asphalt, I open the lid and select the thin utility knife from within. With a shaky hand, I extend the blade about 2 inches. It will work, I tell myself. It has to. After closing the kit again, I take it in my left hand, and then I move toward the building, staying low. She's inside, and it's my fault. I have to save her. I see the box full of tapes from across the store. Even though it has been shoved under a table in favor of more desirable items like an old VCR/DVD player combo and a genuine Walkman CD player, I can tell it's new. I can tell because I stop by this thrift store 5 days a week on my way home from work. And I've never seen that banker's box full of VHS tapes before. Stirrings of excitement form in my belly as I think about all the footage contained in that box. Chances are it's just old recordings of TV shows from the 80s and 90s, back before there was such a thing as TiVo, let alone streaming services. But if I'm lucky, I'll find some home footage I can use in my film project. Without hesitation, I grab up the box of tapes and march directly to the front. As soon as the cute cashier with the lip ring and green hair finishes checking out an old lady, she looks up and smiles at me.
"Hey Max," she says. "Find something good today?"
"I did, Cindy," I say. I always make sure to say her name because I read somewhere that saying a girl's name lets them know that you remember them, that you see them. And just maybe, Cindy is a perk of coming to this particular thrift store, even though it's slightly out of the way compared to the Goodwill on 4th. At least I hope I did. Won't know for sure until I watch them. She studies the box for a moment. "Are you going to watch them all?" "Eventually," I say. "I usually put a video on in the background while I make dinner or work on other school stuff. I only really pay attention if something interesting comes on." "Oh, right," she says. "You're in film school." "Yeah," I say, flattered that she remembers. "You like horror flicks?" I smile. "I'm a bit of a horror snob, actually. Pretty picky." Cindy sticks a hip out and tilts her head. "What's your favorite?" "Overall favorite? Impossible to say. But for fun, I love Videodrome. For pure scares, The Thing." "Cronenberg isn't all that underground," she says. "And which The Thing are you talking about?" 1982, of course. Carpenter." "Okay, I'll allow it." She says it with a hint of humor. "You'll allow it?" I laugh. "What are your favorites?" "Excuse me," a man says from behind me. I hadn't even noticed that he was there. I was so focused on Cindy that I was oblivious. "I'd like to check out, please." "Right," Cindy says. "Sorry." She smiles at me and then looks at the box again. "I can't even find a price on this thing. How about you give me $1 and we'll call it even?" $1? I say. "Are you sure?" She shrugs. "This box came in with a bunch of other stuff from some storage unit. I honestly think my manager was about to throw it away, but I may have convinced him to keep it. For you." I swallow, not believing my luck. Let's just say that I'm about as far from a Don Juan as you can get. I had a girlfriend in high school, but since then it's been crickets in my love life. It doesn't help that between work and school, I have 80-hour weeks, of course. "Yeah, okay," I say, pulling $1 out of my wallet and giving it to her. She rings it up and then turns back to look at me. My palms are suddenly sweaty. Am I really going to do this? If you, give me your number, we can finish our conversation," I say, glancing at the increasingly angry man behind me. "I'd like that," Cindy says, extending a strip of receipt paper out of her register. She jots her number down and sticks it in the box. We smile at each other as I lift the box and head out. I put the box in my passenger seat and get into the driver's seat, reaching over and digging the piece of paper out. I grin at the phone number and the little smiley face above it. Instead of a regular smiley face, though, Cindy has drawn the face with X's for eyes above the smile. Recalling a scene from the movie Swingers with Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau, I contemplate texting Cindy. I'm home now, the box of videotapes next to my TV, and her phone number in my phone. In the movie Swingers, they talk about how long to wait before calling a woman whose number you get. If I remember correctly, they say 2 days is the standard. Yeah, right. There's no way I can wait 2 days to text her. Besides, that was the 90s. Things have changed, right? It's not the cool thing to do, but I send her a joking message about how her favorite horror movies better be good. A minute later, I read it over and mutter, "Stupid," to myself, before setting the phone aside so I don't do anything else dumb in the next hour. Then I move over to the box of tapes. The labels on the tapes only have numbers. There are no words on them at all. Their cardboard sleeves don't have any handwriting either. I stick the first one into my VCR and start it up as I begin making dinner. My studio apartment is small enough that I can watch my TV from anywhere except the bathroom. Getting out my cutting board and setting it on the small dining room table that takes up much of my kitchen, I glance up at the images on the TV. At first, I think I'm watching some old public access show. There's a backdrop with sloppily drawn green hills, a couple of bulbous trees, and a blue sky with a yellow sun in the corner. A woman who looks to be about my age comes into the frame from the right. She's wearing a long-sleeved white dress with a bonnet and carrying a curved staff in front of her with both hands. She's supposed to be Little Bo Peep. She's side on to the camera, so I can't see her face thanks to the bonnet, but she moves stiffly into the middle of the screen. From the other side, a naked man wearing a lamb mask comes into the frame, crawling on all fours and making sheep noises. I've been watching this with a frown on my face as I chop onions for dinner, but now I freeze.
What the hell?
I say, thinking that I've bought a box full of someone's home sex tapes. But then the woman turns toward the camera, and I catch a glimpse of her face. I drop the knife to the table and move around, getting closer to the TV. The woman's mouth is taped shut, and her eyes are absolutely brimming with fear. I can see now that her hands have been bound at the wrists with white rope, which was obscured by her long-sleeved dress. She grips the staff in both hands, but it's pretty clear that the thing's made of flimsy plastic. The man comes up to her, his hairy belly hanging down and his genitals flapping, and rubs against her leg, still baaing. She winces and whimpers as he gets to his knees and paws at her. Swallowing the lump in my throat, I contemplate turning it off. I don't want to watch this anymore, but I know I can't turn it off yet. It could be evidence of a crime. So I move forward and sit on my couch, and I watch the video as things turn worse for the woman. By the end of it, I feel like I'm going to vomit. The woman is still alive, but I'm sure she wishes she wasn't. The video stops and my TV screen goes blue. My apartment is silent as I think over the implications. The footage is clearly evidence of a crime, but the man never showed his face. He was wearing the mask the whole time. He had no identifying marks that I could tell. I need to bring these to the police. But before I do that, I need to see what else is on these videos. My hand shakes as I put the video labeled 2 into the VCR. This one is of a different location. There's no cartoonish backdrop, only a gray cinder block wall, and a woman chained up on a mattress covered in slippery plastic. I'm sure it's the same woman from the first video. She's screaming against her gag and thrashing, but the chains around her arms are fixed to an anchor in the wall behind the mattress. The man comes on screen like a shot, making me jump. He's still wearing the lamb mask as he falls on top of the woman, plunging a knife into her stomach. I jump up from my couch and nearly knock the VCR over as I slap at the stop button. Then I run to the bathroom and vomit into the toilet. I've seen so many horror movies, many of them pretty gruesome, but there's something about seeing a person actually being killed on screen. It's awful, terrible, unfakeable. It's the most disturbing thing I've ever seen. After wiping my mouth, I get up and grab my phone from the table. I need to call the police and see what they want me to do with these videos. see if I need to wear gloves or something, or just not touch them at all and let a detective come get them. But as I pick up my phone, I see there are 3 texts from Cindy. I've been so worked up, I completely forgot about messaging her when I got home. It strikes me as strange that there are 3 messages from her, but I don't pay it much mind. Thinking I'll just ignore the messages for now, I go to unlock the phone. But as I do, I see the preview of the first message, and something about it strikes me as strange. There's a smiley face emoji followed by the words, "Let's talk about it in person." That's all of the message I can see. It's the emoji that strikes me as strange. Remembering the smiley face with X's for eyes on the piece of paper she gave me, I open the messaging app and read all 3 messages. The first one is, "Let's talk about it in person. You up for a drink?" It was sent 20 minutes ago, about 15 minutes after I sent the initial message. The second text has a note of desperation in it. "I'm off of work now. How about that drink?" It was sent 10 minutes after her first message. The third and final message was sent 2 minutes ago, and as I read it, I know something is really wrong. "I can come over to your place if you want. We can watch some of those tapes you bought, if you haven't already watched them." I stare down at the phone, the implications swirling in my brain. It's not Cindy, that much is clear. The smiley emoji was the first clue. I barely know her, but I know that she would have sent a skull or a ghost or even the scream face emoji, but not the run-of-the-mill smiley face. Then there's the last message. Not only would Cindy not volunteer to come over to my house, yet there's also the matter of asking about the tapes, fishing to see if I've watched any of them yet. The realization is unshakable. The person messaging me with Cindy's phone is the man from the tapes. Somehow, they were accidentally given to the store. He realized it and tracked them down. But by the time he got to the store, they were already gone. Now he's scrambling, trying to find out where I live. I put the phone down, wishing I hadn't opened the text. Now he'll be able to see that I've read them. Now I have to answer, otherwise I'll make him suspicious. And I need to buy some time so I can get the police involved. God knows what he's done with Cindy and the other thrift store employees. Maybe they're already dead. After thinking for a moment, I pick up the phone and type out a message. "I would love a drink, but I have a bunch of homework tonight. Haven't watched any of the tapes, but if you're free tomorrow, we can check them out then." I send it, thinking it's believable enough. The 2 little check marks turn blue, indicating that it has been read. I wait, but I don't know what to expect. Maybe a message saying that tomorrow will be fine, no problem. The message that does come through proves that I didn't think things through. It's a picture message of Cindy, stripped to her bra and on a grimy mattress coated in plastic. Her hands are chained up. I can't see the whole scene, but I'm willing to bet that the chains are affixed to a cinder block wall with an anchor. She has tape over her mouth and her mascara is smeared down her cheeks. A second message comes in. It's a selfie of Cindy and a man in a plastic sheep mask. His obscured face takes up half the frame, and Cindy's terrified face takes up the other half. It's followed quickly by a third message that reads, "Bring all the tapes to 8th and Western. Text me when you're there. If you don't make it in 20 minutes, or if I see a cop anywhere near that intersection, your friend is dead." My stomach cramps as panic constricts my throat. 8th and Western is a 20-minute drive when there's 0 traffic, and it's only approaching 9 o'clock. There will be traffic. I grab my keys and get the box of tapes. I'm out the door before I remember that there's still one in the VCR. Precious seconds tick by as I eject the tape, put it with the others, and then rush outside to my car. I pull up to a gas station at 8th and Western with a minute to spare. I still have VHS tapes spread all over my passenger seat from what I was scrambling to do while driving. My glove compartment is still open too. It's a miracle I didn't crash. If the guy is watching, he'll know something's up if he sees me putting all the tapes back in the box. But I have a feeling he's not here. I text Cindy's number with one word. "Here." A moment later, another text comes through. "Drive to 10th and Western. There's an alley halfway down between 10th and 11th. Turn right into the alley and place the box in the first dumpster on your right. Then leave. Once you've done that, go to 4th and Riley and send me a picture of the Mr. Taco restaurant sign. You have 10 minutes or she dies." I pull out of the gas station. As I drive, I put the tapes back into the box. By the time I turn into the alley, I have the box looking normal again. I stop and put the box into the dumpster, placing it on top of a bunch of foul-smelling trash bags and produce boxes. Glancing around, I get back into my car and then drive away. When I get to Mr. Taco, I snap a picture of the sign and send it. There's no answer. And I know there won't be. I've done what he wanted. Now, he'll disappear again. And so will Cindy. There's no way he'll let her go. Of course, I've known that all along. On my phone, I exit the messaging app and go to the Find My Phone app. I open it up and watch the screen. The blue dot on the map is moving, heading down Western, passing 13th Street. I-85 is a quarter mile away. That's where he's going. I pull out of the Mr. Taco parking lot and head toward the interstate. I got the idea from some movie, No Country for Old Men, maybe. Although it's not the only movie that features a tracking device hidden in an important object, I can think of a dozen others. It didn't take much to break the tape reels out of one of the VHS tapes. At a stoplight, I simply pulled a screwdriver out of the tool chest I keep under my passenger seat. I put the videotape between my legs and lifted the flap to expose the film with one hand. With the other hand, I jammed the tip of the screwdriver down to break all the little plastic pieces. When that was done, I turned the tape over and shook it over my passenger seat, still holding the flap open. Little bits of black plastic came out, but not the two film reels. They were held in place by two little metal arms inside, which would allow them to spin in place when the tape was played. The light turned green and I hit the gas. With one hand, I put the tape back between my thighs and shoved the screwdriver down into the casing, digging it around so I could pop the reels out one at a time. I pulled the first one out and tossed it into the footwell, the film stringing out behind it. Then I got the second one out and tossed it after the first. Still driving, I grabbed my old phone from the glove compartment. I keep it in there because the camera is decent, and I always like to have a backup camera wherever I go. After powering it on, I navigated to the Find My Phone app and made sure everything was set so I could track it. Then I slipped the phone into the gutted VHS tape and slipped the tape back into the cardboard sleeve. Then I dug a bunch of the other tapes out so I could put it deeper inside the box. Moments later, I pulled up to 8th and Western. Now, as I look at my phone, I see that the guy is heading toward the outskirts of town. He's off the highway, driving through an industrial area. I'm about a mile behind him. As I get off the highway, I notice that the dot hasn't moved in a bit, and as I close the distance, I have to assume that he's stopped. When I get close, I pull over on the side of the road and study the map. It looks like he's at a warehouse on the next block over. I know he's liable to kill Cindy if he hears police coming. That's how it always happens in the films. Maybe he'll kill her, and then himself before the cops can storm the place. I get out of the car with my small toolkit. I'm thinking about the chains around Cindy's wrists and how I'll hopefully be able to free her with something in the kit. With my phone in one hand and the toolkit in the other, I move down the street, sticking to shadows as best I can. It's an industrial area, and the business is done for the day. The dark warehouses loom silently. The faraway hum of the highway is the only sound other than my soft footfalls on the gritty sidewalk. Slowing as I come to the property, I peer around the corner of the adjacent warehouse, looking down the driveway. A small brick warehouse is set back from the road, a newish minivan parked in front near the double doors. It must be the place. I unlock my phone and look at the map again to confirm. Then I change apps, my thumbs flying across the touchscreen. When I'm done, I put the phone away and return my attention to the warehouse. When I see no movement, I hustle forward, keeping the van between me and the grimy front windows flanking the door. The van is empty, so I kneel behind it for a minute, watching and listening. I see nothing. I hear nothing, other than the blood rushing in my ears and the steady, insistent hammer of my heart. Quietly opening the toolkit, I select the utility knife from within. It's a thin kind, with snap-off blades, but it's better than nothing. I extend the blade out about 2 inches and hold the tool in my hand as I rush toward the building, toolkit still in my left hand. I try the door. It opens and I peer inside, seeing nothing but a dusty office area. The only light spills through a doorway at the back of the area, down a short hallway. I'm sure it's the door to the warehouse area. I move cautiously, feeling a sickening thrill of excitement. I don't know how many times I've fantasized about something like this, about being the hero who beats the odds to save the girl and dole out justice. But that doesn't keep my stomach from clenching. or my palms from sweating. Gazing into the warehouse through the open door, I spot Cindy there, at the side of the space. She's just as I saw her in the picture, chained up and lying on a plastic-enclosed twin mattress. Work lights on tripods are set nearby, shining down on her. After peering around and not seeing the guy, I step into the space. Cindy sees me. Our eyes meet. I can't help but smile, the joy of playing the hero momentarily drowning out the fear. Then there's a footfall from directly behind me. I spin around, slashing wildly with the utility knife. But before my arm can even complete its arc, something slams into my chest. I feel the structure of my body change, but there's no pain as I gaze down at the axe sticking out of my chest. It's in there deep. I tried to pull in a breath, but my lungs spasm and I cough up blood. The man stands in front of me, hands still on the axe handle. He's wearing a sheet mask over his jeans and zip-up sweatshirt. "Bah!" he says. "Bad boy!" Then he laughs, yanking the axe out of me. Dropping the toolkit and the utility blade, I stumble back and fall to the concrete floor. Turning my head, I see Cindy getting up from the bed, dragging the chain still fastened around her wrist. The anchor that was in the wall is still attached to the chain. Somehow, she got it out of the wall. Maybe she just pulled it out. Maybe dozens of girls like her loosened it over the years. And as I watch her dash for the exit, I realize I was never the hero in this story. I was only a supporting character. This is Cindy's story. She's the hero, the heroine. She's the one. My thoughts stop cold as the man appears in my tunneling vision, chopping into Cindy's neck with the axe. She falls to the ground, so much blood spewing from the wound. "Bah!" the man says before kicking Cindy in the stomach. I can feel the pain now. It's coming on like a semi-truck barreling into a crowded playground. There's no stopping it. And in the stark light of immense pain, I see how dumb it was to think I was anything more than another human, subject to the cruel whims of the universe. I'm not a character in a story. I have no plot armor. Things don't magically work out for me, and nor do they for Cindy. She's no different. But then again, the man in the sheep mask is no different either. He doesn't get a happy ending, because I texted 911 with this warehouse's address and a brief sentence about a serial killer here. I included the picture of Cindy the guy sent me to make sure they hurried, and I can hear the sirens now. They're close, very close. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy these stories, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and check out some more of my episodes here.